On energy and climate, grid security will now come to order. Chair will recognize himself for 5 minutes for an opening statement. First off, thanks for being here today. Great audience, and look forward to the panelists as we delve into this issue. So let me begin by welcoming everyone to the House Energy and Commerce Committee, Subcommittee on Energy, Climate, and Grid Security field hearing, Enhancing America's Grid Security and Resilience. As a subcommittee chairman, I'm excited to be here in Moore County, North Carolina with my colleagues at the invitation of my good friend and colleague on the Energy and Commerce Committee, Representative Richard Hudson. There's no better member of Congress. The Energy and Commerce, except for myself. The Energy and Commerce Committee exercises broad jurisdiction over federal agencies and issues related to America's electric grid. As part of these responsibilities, we work closely with the Department of Energy and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, known as FERC, to ensure that our electric grid and the utility companies that operate it are well coordinated and prepared to address all hazards to the electric grid, whether they be severe weather events, physical, or cybersecurity threats. America's power grid is the world's most complex and highly interconnected system in the world. The challenge of protecting it is immense, and it's growing, especially as our power mix shifts and we add more and new and varied generations to that mix. According to the Energy Information Administration, our nation's power grid consists of more than 7,300 power plants, 160,000 miles of high-voltage power lines, millions of miles of low-voltage power lines, and more than 50,000 substations where transformers convert raw electricity to higher or lower voltages. Historically, natural events, especially severe weather events, present the greatest risk to the system's reliability and resilience. However, we are also facing a growing threat of physical and cyber attacks to our electric grid and other energy infrastructure like pipelines and electric substations. There have been several grid security incidents that have occurred recently that we're examining as part of our oversight responsibilities. Within the last year, we've seen electrical transmission substations attacked in Tacoma, Washington, and right here in Moore County. Both of these attacks resulted in blackouts that affected tens of thousands of people for multiple days. Prior to these instances, we saw one of the nation's most critical pipelines, the Colonial Pipeline, suffer a cyber attack that created fuel shortages and price spikes that lasted for weeks. As member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, we are taking a close look at these instances to gather lessons learned and determine whether federal laws or regulations should be revised to enhance grid security and resilience. We're also gathering the perspectives of the electric industry and state partners to learn how we can harden our grid, improve situational awareness, and enhance grid security, and support the response efforts. With that, I'd like to welcome our witnesses and thank them for appearing before us today. I look forward to learning more about the substation attack that occurred here in Moore County so I can share the lessons learned with electric utilities and state officials in my home state of South Carolina and others across the country with my colleagues back in Washington. So I'd now like to